hear from the liaison officer from auditors.
Thank you, Chair. The auditor received a response on the 1st of July, and that's the response which was used to verify or to prepare the report for the committee. Subsequently, there's another report which has come, which the auditor has not had a chance to look at. So that's the position, Chair.
That is now clear.
So, Governor.
Honorable Chair, the documents are generally the same. What we have in the hard copy is fairly kind of a summary of the very long responses in the email that we forwarded. So basically, the documents that have been circulated that are before you on your table and the one that the auditors has and indicated that he is ready to proceed is exactly the same document that that we have circulated. But even that response raised by my senator, if you look at it, we were just trying to be, concise. But the information, there is no material difference in terms of that information. So we really, it's exactly the same document. There could be, we were trying to be concise in a number of appearances before Senate. Having a response that is one page for a document, if you can be able to make it concise into 2 paragraphs, it saves, the committee. So basically, it's the same document. We just summarized it, and I think, as indicated by the auditor, and it is the document that is before all of us, the hard copies. So really, there is no material difference between the document that we presented on email and the one that is before us.
Chair, I disagree totally with the governor. He's just being smart. To address the issue, Governor, in your soft copy through the chair, you have added 3 issues: revise and resubmitted, designate a compliance officer, enhance internal control procedures. So you cannot, in your response in the hard copy, it is just one statement. So you cannot say there is no material differences. Yet in your soft copy, what Governor should be telling us is if he is willing to stand down one of the responses and wait for the consequences. Because if he stands down the soft copy response, it means he has submitted outside the timeline. If he stands down the hard copy, it means the committee will fly blind because they will not have anything in reference or look at the soft copy. So, Governor, you cannot mislead, but these are material. The fact that you have given one statement and then go to give us following corrective measures, which means all these members are not seeing because they are not using soft copy, they are using hard copy. So these corrective measures are not here. So it means it's material difference and it will affect the committee report writing before the House Chair. So I think, Chair, you need to make a ruling whether we stand down soft copy or hard copy and the entity to wait for consequences. Because if you choose to proceed with all these material differences, then the outcome will come out will not be fair to everybody. Because the fact that the governor is here to present, and I agree with you, AG, the governor will be given a chance to explain and clarify a few issues and there. That is not the point. We are not contesting on that. The issue is the timeline and materiality and the procedure before the committee. So, Chair, can the governor tell us whether he's willing to stand down either of the responses or he's willing to go together? And if he goes together, it will mean the OAG liaison will be flying blind because you'll have the hard copy, but your colleague has said he has not seen the soft copy. So it will be hard to proceed because we'll be referring to the soft copy or the hard copy. Thank you, Chair.
I have consulted the clerk here, and the responses that were sent on email and the ones that we have now, the ones which were sent by email earlier on are more detailed. For example, when you look at the first issue, they have elaborated in detail what the omissions were in the financial statement. But this one, they have summarized the responses. Now, therefore, it means legally the responses that we have before us are the emailed responses. Unfortunately, we cannot be able to look at the email responses now because it now forces every member to now be on their phones or bring their laptops here to go through the responses. Now, the other funds which are before us, emergency, climate change, car and mortgage, the clerk tells me the responses are not materially different from what they received earlier. So it is my considered way forward that we will stand down the education fund but proceed with the other funds. There are other funds which are in Nandi County, which we did not invite them to come before us. I think at that point we will combine those funds with the education funds when we hope that the inconsistencies in the responses will not be there. So just to avoid a lot of issues, we will stand down the education fund but proceed with the other funds.
Chair, well, I agree with the procedure that this issue, because this issue of education fund is very critical. The issue of bursary is very critical. The issue of even list of beneficiaries that were awarded bursary, it's a serious issue. So I agree that we stand down then it, but Chair, so that it becomes lesson to others, the governor must apologize to the committee for an intent to mislead this committee. Because if the committee was not keen, and I think there is a perception by these entities to assume that senators are too busy not to notice the inconsistency. So as a lesson to the others, he must apologize and step down his documentation for an intention to misrepresent facts, to mislead the committee with an intention of an outcome that he himself knows. So, Chair, so that this committee moves in a neat manner, and I agree that this education fund, we reschedule until the inconsistencies are correct. The governor should apologize and withdraw his so that we can proceed with others as per the tradition of parliament.
Okay, before the governor says something, I think the principal person who prepared these responses is one Alfred Lagat, who is the CEC for planning. I would like you to explain to this committee about these inconsistencies and take note that the committee takes seriously the issues of responses. That's why at the beginning we always ask the auditors and the clerk whether the responses are in the right format and substance, and that they have been processed within the required timelines. So can you explain this anomaly?
Thank you, Chair, and the committee. As the governor said, is that the document before us is really a lot of work went into preparing the one that we forwarded to the Senate, and upon review we thought that since it's for the record, let's have a summarized version that will really save the committee time, because when you look at what we administrative actions, so we thought since it's also going to be used by ourselves at the county, let's give the summarized copy before the committee, but we also ensure that the Senate has this document that really we have step-by-step actions that we intend to take at the county to sort the issues that are before us. So it is a product of us being very serious about the queries and giving much details, and in our wisdom and in consultation with the OAG, we thought that really the documents being one and the same, most of the issues that are in the detailed document would arise in our discussions and would form part of the comments that the governor would make, and also some of the verbal responses that I would also make myself. But in principle, really, we don't have materially different documents. It's a summary of the former. Thank you, Chair.
You know, as a procedure in this committee, and like that you have appeared before us severally, we encourage as much information as possible to be documented for our record purpose. In as much as we have the handset, where what you say is also very important, but the responses are going to be read verbatim before we even ask a question. So if we have a detailed response, that is even good for us. It's even good for us so that we reduce the number of questions we are going to ask you. But if you summarize it, then you even make the meeting longer because the questions will be many, they'll be back and forth. So I think what you had done earlier in your initial document, that is what you should just have sent. Because some of us have already read what you sent on email and we were prepared based on what you had sent on email. And then now when we come to the meeting, we see a different document. You know, it causes confusion. So yes, you were thinking about summarizing, but us, we want more details. And that is the procedure, that whatever is submitted to us must be the same as what has been submitted to the auditor, because the auditor is going to advise the committee based on the responses. So if the responses to the auditor are different from the responses to the committee, or the responses to the clerk who is supposed to advise the members is different from the responses that have been tabled, then it becomes a problem. So I think that one.
The last one.
Yes.
I don't know. OAG, don't you find it weird that the client, you advise them to summarize, because that is the response of CPA. Because he says you advise. And let me ask you a very simple question. In your audit report last one, you have indicated that you didn't see list of beneficiaries. So you are telling them to summarize. So if you wanted, there were list of beneficiaries of 1,000. And they gave you 200 and tell you this assembly because they want to do a conspectus of the entire process. What will be your opinion? Because you need to deny what the client is saying, because he's saying on the advice of the OAG, we did a summary. Yet, Chair, and I don't know, Chair, on a lighter note, I don't know whether there has been a ruling of this committee or any other committee that you have advised client that you have a very limited time. That is why they need to summarize any documentation. I'm not aware. Maybe the client should advise us. Maybe they have been appearing in a different. So I needed the OAG to tell us why would he advise the client to summarize, or is just misleading the committee. Thank you, through the indulgence of the chair.
Chair, yes. I think it is only fair that the senator also accurately quotes the client. We have not said that the auditor advised us to summarize. We have given the explanation. That is not. That is
not. Your CEC has said we can bring the answer. You know the goodness. He has in fact said.
Okay, let us listen to the governor.
No, Chair, but the governor should guide his officers very well, because the CPA has said he summarized in his own thing based on the advice and the time of the committee. Unless we can bring the answer, Governor, so that you can go through and see what the CPA has just said.
Okay, Senator Nandi, just hold on. Let the governor make his explanation, and so that we can make further direction and proceed.
Chair, I think for us, as indicated by my CEC, and also as I had indicated, there is in our assessment, there is no difference, material difference on the two documents. But we appreciate what you have said in terms of the guidance that, you know, the details.
Chair, has ruled that there is inconsistency in the issue of response. Opinion of the governor that we proceed, because he is challenging your ruling, because you have said and we have agreed there is inconsistency, but he is still insisting there is no inconsistency.
In fact, Chair, we are all in, I mean, our as a client before you, we are in agreement with your ruling. In fact, if had we all agreed on your ruling, we would have just stepped down that document and proceeded to the next one. It's the senator who is contesting. We have just given our explanation, and we have said that we note the position taken by, if we were to print and provide that the responses as per our email, you would then notice that there is very little difference. But we agree with your ruling, and we are ready to proceed as you have guided, and that guidance in terms of remaining and giving as much details as possible is well taken, Chair. But really, we just want to leave it at that because you've guided.
Senator Mudam.
Chair, I'm sorry, I had stepped out, but I remember when we were having the pre-meeting in the morning, the Auditor General's office said that he was served with the document. Was it this morning or yesterday? The document you said you were served with, is it yesterday?
Chair, actually what I'm running is, what I have is the detailed response. What I got yesterday was the summarized response.
So,
I have the detailed.
So as I conclude, what I was saying is, he got the documents on the 16th, and he has a document of 16th, and we agreed we go on the document of 16th and not the document that you received yesterday, and not this document that we have received this morning.
Okay, very well.
That's what we agreed.
While you are away, the chair made a ruling on that matter. The chair has made a ruling that we are going to step down the education fund responses because the clerk has confirmed that there is a material difference, but the other funds will proceed as they are. And then the education fund, because there are other funds which are not before us, we will combine them with those other funds at a later date. So let us make progress. So I think we will start with the emergency fund, which is in the below 5. Auditor, proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Report of the Auditor General on Nandi County Merchants Fund for the year ended 30th June 2024. It has a qualified opinion, and the Chair, there are 3 issues raised on this report. One, the first one is to do with accuracy, presentation, and disclosure of the financial statements. Chair, as discussed, maybe you guide again whether the accountant is to comment on this.
Yeah, so you can check for us who the accountant was.
Chairman, the accountant, the fund accountant was Brian Billigan. His pack member number 26686.
Is Brian here? Is Brian here?
Chair, the fund manager is here, not the accountant, so the fund manager is here.
So we are concerned about the accountants because in all the funds report, it appears that this problem is repeating itself. So that's why we are very keen to know who the accountants were. Every fund has this issue of accuracy, presentation, and disclosure.
And also, is the same Brian that was an accountant in the previous, you remember when you asked the accountant in the previous fund of education, is he here? Because it looks like when accountants are staying outside more than inside. Is he here? Because there was also an accountant in the previous where you asked, he was told he had stepped out. So I don't
think it's different.
It's different. What was the name of the, through the chair, what was the name of the previous accountant? What was his name? Kevin Koech or somebody?
Koech, yeah.
Okay. So this one is Brian? Brian Briggen. Yeah.
But even if the accountant is not here, just check the status. The CEC Finance is the administrator of emergency fund.
But Chair, on your intelligence, sorry for interrupting, but when introduction was done, this guy was here. Does it mean anybody can walk out before the meeting ends? Because I can recall the introduction, they were here.
Was he, did I hear Brian? Back.
Yes. I thought they were Kevin Koech and another accountant, Brian Birgen, and of course the governor and the rest of the team.
But Chair, what should be checked is just if they are in good books with the ISPAC, if they are in good records with ISPAC.
That's what he's checking. I think.
The reason, Chair, with all due respect, this is the committee of the Senate.
Yes.
So anybody who wants to exclude himself or herself, they must seek the permission of the chair of the committee. It is not the other way. So if we allow people to be walking out of your meetings, then it is a bad precedent. Because when somebody doesn't want to answer, they'll just walk out, and before you know it, you don't have anybody in the room.
He wasn't in.
He wasn't in.
Yeah.
So
what about Kevin Koech? He was not in. Okay.
So
We'll check the answer.
I think then what is the status of the? We have a problem with the website for verifying that. But all the same, let me take it to the CEC Finance through the governor. The regulations of the law allow that you are the administrator of the emergency fund. So can you explain this anomaly of inaccuracy as highlighted by the Auditor General? Yeah, now Brian, his membership is active, but it's not in good standing. Proceed, you can also respond to that issue of not being in good standing.
Thank you, Chair. On the aspect of not in good standing, I know usually the regulations by ISPAC require that a member meets certain minimum hours called CPD hours. Possibly Brian may be behind in this schedule, but as a government, we always ensure that by end of the financial year, all accountants have attended at least, and we've paid for them, have attended at least a minimum of 40 hours that are required for professional development. And we've done this consistently, Chair. So if he's lagging behind, it's one of the items that we'll be going forward to regularize. Thank you. Chair, you asked on query number 1.
Query number 1, the issue of inaccuracies, presentation issues, and disclosures. For example, there are 2 issues the auditor has raised. He has raised about the emergency expenses of 24 million, which did not have analysis of emergency expenditure, and also the issue of aspect number 2, payment of about 1,773 instead of 25 million, leading to that variance of 24.9 million. So you can explain all that.
Thank you, Chair. On part 1, it talks about failure to make a breakdown or an analysis of the 24 million. And the response, Chair, was that under note 9 in our revised financial statements, that is page 18 of the financial statements, an annex has been done and that analysis has been captured properly. Of course, Chair, we understand that funds report under accrual basis, so in the subsequent periods we've really endeavored to ensure that our team is well capacitated to do proper disclosures and detailed disclosures in line with what you've even said, so that we give as much information as possible. On the same number 2, Chair, this error arose, the 1,773 is an error that arose when the accountant was preparing financial statements in Excel, and then they do the transfer of the same to Word document. In the process, transferring, it led to an omission, and therefore the arithmetics on the Word document didn't add up. So really, this is an error that going forward, keenness must be observed by the accountants. But this has since been captured properly, and we really want to confirm that preparation of accounts on Excel, going forward, we don't need to transfer to Word. It can just be converted to Word from Excel without transferring number by number, which leads to some of these petty errors. Thank you, Chair.
Maybe you need to tell this committee, be honest to this committee, because we know what usually happens in some of these financial statements. The financial statements are probably done by someone else who is not the one who signs. The financial statement is maybe done by someone, junior accountant, and qualified junior accountant, and then the qualified one just comes in to sign. Could that be a similar case to this? We have seen that with the other counties. Well, because surely a member of ISIPAC who has been trained on public sector accounting standards board regulations will not make such mistakes. So they can only occur if that person is not qualified.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, indeed, under the financial reporting unit, we have accountants who are qualified and they have different roles. The junior accountants are the ones who really generate the data, and finally, the process that is given to the senior accountant to prepare. I have both the fund administrator here and the fund accountant who are directly involved, and they can confirm, Chair. But truth is, with proper reviews, Chair, by the senior accountant, these errors shouldn't have occurred, and our FRE unit is undergoing a bit of restructuring to really ensure that we don't appear here with some small errors like this one. Thank you.
Yeah, so Senator Bogo.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe to the auditor, if we were to take it that these were errors, in your exit meeting, did you have a chance to engage them? Because I believe you would have sorted it there instead of it coming all the way here if it is an error as he put it.
Thank you, Chair. We had several engagements in the exit meeting, and we did the management draft, and then we did the draft report before finalizing with the Auditor General certificate on the same. Thank you.
I think you have answered.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I'm just wondering, I think it is indicated that as he's giving explanation that the error occurred when they were transferring, is in there a standard criteria given for such feedback?
There is a template that is prepared by the...
So did they use that template? That's my question.
Yeah. So, Auditor, and you have not answered Mbogwa properly.
Chair, we raised these issues. In the first, we do what we call audit issues. We raised the issue, and then we did the management data, in which the issue came out, and then we did the draft audit reports. And at times, Chair, other issues come on review, because after audit, the exercise is review is done at various levels. So other issues can come up, but again, management is usually given an opportunity to respond. So that's why this issue is here, because the responses were not adequate.
So according to you, it was not an error?
Okay, thank you, Chair. According to audits, we normally assume everything is not an error unless management proves otherwise.
Answer my question about the tablet.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe I need to get Representative's question again, once again.
I asked, isn't there a standard way of reporting? There is a given template. Did they use it? Because the way he was explaining, the error occurred when they were transferring.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have the National Treasury has issued accounting templates through the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board guidelines. So it's like they didn't adopt the templates fully. That's where these kind of errors end up cropping up.
Then kindly respond why you did not use the given template. And Chair, before he responds to that through you, so that he can respond together, it's that don't you check the work after the accountants have done as the CCM finance?
Thank you, Chair. I wish to confirm that what the template that is given to us by the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board is an Excel template. That is the same template that we use. The occurrence of this error, Chair, is in an attempt to present neater versions of this document. We usually prefer to take them to Word. Now, when you're taking to Word, you're keying figures to the Word document, but you're transferring the same figures that are really on Excel. Now, when you finish keying into the Word document, you should do manual calculation, what we call casting. You add up so that you ensure that no figure has been omitted. But if you really look at the original Excel template, it is there and it balances. But the truth or what I agree is the levels of reviews, which I'd say might not have worked effectively, and under our finance reporting unit, we are actually putting in place systems to ensure that first we adopt even the right template, because these templates keep being revised often. Secondly, second level and a third level review before these go to the auditors, and it's an attempt, it's our internal so that these errors don't occur again. Thank you.
Chair, I want to find out is your system computerized? Do you have a computerized system in Nandi County? Because what I expected from even these the accounts that you're talking about that they were in Excel and you imported to Word. I believe there must be an import from Excel to Word so that those rekeying should not be there. I just wanted to find out if you have an IT system, because if you have any, then basically you should be able to generate some of these reports directly from the system, because you can the IT fellow should be able to set that template and format it for you in the system so that you don't have to encounter these errors.
Thank you, Chair. We use Excel templates to prepare our accounts. Reason being, initially, the IFMI system was, there are certain modules that were to be operationalized to be an integrated reporting tool, which then means that we would be able to print out accounts from the IFMIs. But since IFMIs doesn't really, all the transactions for counties are not captured on IFMIs, we are still forced to resort to Excel. And we had hoped, the guidance we had received was that possibly there will be a universal system given by National Treasury so that we would get there. But for now, we still use Excel. Thank you.
Chair, to the Chair, OAG, you say during these responses, you never met the client. Is that the true position?
Thank you, Chair. We, as I said, we have levels of review. So our officers He's met the clients, and
So
so
during these particular responses on the funds,
these
I'm not talking
particular
about the other
responses,
meetings.
yeah, because
You met,
our officers met them.
but you are on record saying you did meet.
Now, at the personal level, because I am the one doing the final presentation, I didn't have an opportunity to
So
meet
I
them.
think in future you should just say your office, don't say I, so that you don't mislead the committee. So how long has been this financial reporting template been in place?
Chair, the financial reporting templates are reviewed from year to year by the Public Sector Accounting Standards and published in their website.
So the client was aware of this
They must have been aware, Chair, because they are publicized for all accounting officers to adhere. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, because all questions are answered through you because you are the one who took an oath, could it be the reason, Chair, that Brian Briggen is not in good standing with the ISPA? Because looking at this is a basic accounting issue. So if they are committing an error in terms of template reporting, I have heard Senator Kisang ask about IT, and I'm happy he's here because he has made what the CC responded to look like a child's play, because it's not even in place. I was wondering where that explanation came from. So my question is, could this Brian Briggen, fund administrator and CCM, you don't have the capacity to do these things? Because this, the non-compliance of template is a very simple issue, Chair, that should not even be escalated to the Senate, number one. Number two, Governor, I have seen in note number 9, page 18 of your financials, and Chair, I think OAG and members will agree with me. If there is a problem with financial statements, it will bring up problems in terms of audit itself. Because if you use the wrong template, it will always affect the outcome. So my question to you, Governor, I put it to you, is note number 9 on emergency expenses. I have seen this 24.998 million. This specialized supplies of 15.2 million. Can you give us the schedule of these specialized supplies? And then, Chair, there is repair and maintenance of MV. Is it motor vehicle or motor or the one MV, whatever that is in the sea? So, Governor, repair and maintenance of MV, I don't know what it means by MV. Maybe you can go on record and tell us. And then, Chair, can you give us a schedule of the purchase of specialized supplies of 15,247,344 in this financial year of 2023-2024? That is my second question. And finally to the governor, on this issue, through the chair, on this issue, is the fund administrator here, and how many people manage this fund? Because I have seen, Chair, there is what we call general office expenses. I don't know, does it mean setting allowances of 2,205,000 and 200 in that financial year? So who is the fund administrator? And in terms of these general office expenses, does it mean, is there rent here? Does it mean, because if you talk about printing and stationery, is already there, it's 150,613. So when you mean general office expenses, does it mean sitting allowances in terms of this? But Chair, I really want to do the schedule of the 15.2 million. I thank you, Chair. Those will be my two questions on that query number 1. Thank you, Chair.
Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. On the question on the note 9 that Senator Cherargei has asked about emergency expenses here, these are items during audit, schedules are always provided to the auditor. Most of these, the components are in the schedules that would have to provide if we are asked to provide. It is available for this committee to review, Chair. and therefore each of the items, I mean, I could just mention a few, but I know there's a comprehensive list. It involves, under the specialized supplies, we had emergency bridges, we had lightning arresters, really in response to the emergencies, the specific emergencies we had in Nandi. But the comprehensive list showing the 15 million can be availed, Chair. On the question about who manages the fund, Chair, usually there is a committee, and that is captured on Roman 7 and 8, which really shows the Fund Administration Committee as provided for in the Act. So it's usually the CCM in charge of finance who is like the chair, and then there is the first few pages of the financial statement. The fund financial statements, like the third or fourth pages. So the profiles of the members are captured. We have the CC member in charge of finance. We have the CEO in charge of health, which, and then we have the fund administrator, and then the fund accountant. But ordinarily, of course, based on the emergencies that arise, various departments are always involved in terms of making decisions on issues of emergency fund, because it is based on what emergency comes in. Thank you, Chair.
That's the schedule of specialized supplies.
No, he said that the committee gives him time to give the list of the 15.2 million, including emergency bridges and the lighting arresters and the rest. But on the note 9 of page 18 on their financial statements, the general office expenses 2.2 million. So I wanted to know whether it is sitting allowances for the committee. That's 2.2. That is on note 9, page 18 on their financial statements.
Yeah, Chair. On the same, we also still need to just pull the ledgers which are available, or the same ledgers that really were provided to the auditor to just confirm the items. I may not offhand know the line items, but it's available for verification.
So how much time do you need to provide that?
I believe within a week I should be able to provide.
Okay, so you can provide with those schedules, the general office expense schedule and the specialized supplies schedule to the committee in 7 days.
Guided, Chair, thank you.
So I just want to emphasize that we, as a committee, we have made a deliberate decision that matters of errors in accounts or omissions, moving forward, we are not going to take them lightly. We will go for the people who prepare these financial statements, and those are the accountants. So, in fact, we have said that this committee may even be compelled to communicate with your professional body, ISPAC, if there is a trend of these errors and omission in your financial statements. So when you go back, you need to reorganize your team so that such kind of audit queries should not appear. And we know the reason. The reason is what you have alluded to, that sometimes those who prepare this financial statement are not qualified accountants, but the qualified accountants only come in to sign. But you see now, even the procedure is that if you are an accountant, you should not put a signature to financial statements which you have not prepared or which you have not understood, because you will be personally liable for the accuracy of those financial statements. So that one, we as a committee, we are taking that very seriously, because in some cases, in this case, the auditor reported that there was no loss of funds, but we know in other cases, other counties, there are hidden issues in those omissions and in those errors. So please just note that and go back and reorganize your team. If there are issues to do with the training, they should be trained on the public sector accounting standards board template and standards, so that we don't have these things appearing.
Yeah, what I think, if I'm right, when you did table a number of reports before the House, your committee recommended that we do professional misconduct, where if a member of accounts, and I think EACC, we have agreed in principle, apart from charging them, that they must be cited for professional misconduct. If you are an accountant, if you are a lawyer or an engineer. So I think I agree with you. But Chair, I have a problem. I think we had discussed about loss of funds. I thought it should be a misappropriation of funds, because if, for example, you buy something that is not needed, it might not be the loss of funds, but that item is not needed. It should be misappropriation of funds, because if today I buy, for example, solar in Nandi, and Nandi is ready, they could not be loss of funds, but there is misappropriation of funds instead of doing a breach. So I think we should have a discussion, because the OAG normally wants to use the word misappropriation as opposed to loss of funds. I think that should be clear. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. So, honorable members, I think unless any member has an issue, we can proceed to the next query, which is okay. But before we do that, auditor, how do we rectify this issue? Because I have not seen. Have we done journal entries to rectify this problem, CC?
Yes, Chair, and the same will have an effect on the subsequent financial year reporting. It's a prior year adjustment, and usually we consult our auditors and they guide us on how some of these errors are to be rectified.
So this will now be rectified in 2024-2025 financial statements.
Yes, Chair.
So auditor, you keep a watch on that.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Okay, so the next query is, members, we agreed to number 2, delayed transfer from the county government of Nandi called funding the county emergency fund. Auditor, please.
To the County Emergency Fund, the statement of receipts and payments for Nandi County Executive reflects receipts in respect of transfers from County Revenue Fund totaling Kenya shillings 30 million as disclosed in Note 6 to the financial statements, which represents 0.3% of all the county government annual budget amount of Kenya shillings 8,988,667,004. This is contrary to Part 2, Clause 52A of the Nandi County Emergency Fund Act 2020, which requires the County Assembly to allocate an amount not less than 0.5% of all of the county government annual budget. The required funding as per the county budget should have been not less than Kenya shillings 44,943,335. In the circumstances, the allocation to the fund was not done in compliance with the law. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. Governor, your written response.
Chair, during the financial year under review, the budgeted amount for Nandi County Emergency Fund was Kenya shillings 46 million as per the annexed budget. A provision of 40 was made in the approved budget of 2023-2024 and an additional 6 million in the supplementary budget too. This then represents 0.5% of the county's total revenue of 9.8506666665. However, the actual amount transferred at the close of the financial year was Kenya shillings 30 million due to the delayed remittances from the National Treasury for that for the outstanding financial the June disbursement.
Okay, Auditor, what is your comment on the response?
Mr. Chairman, the comment is that still the county has not complied with the Nandi County Merchants Fund Act of 2020.
So this is a compliance issue.
Yes, sir.
But according to the response from the county, that so what was actually transferred was 30 million, but what was budgeted for was totaling to, is it 46 million, which was within the 0.5%. Of 46, only 30 was transferred to the fund. 30. So that means that I know there are issues of budgeting, but this law sometimes the auditor will always look for compliance issues. So it is a query because he did not comply to the law, your own law actually. Nandi County, it was Nandi County, yeah, Nandi County Emergency Fund Act. What does the National Emergency Provision provide? Legal.
Through you, the only provision on PFM is on limitation on power of the county executive committee member for finance to make the payments. That is under section 113, whereby the CCM for finance may not during the financial year make payment from the emergency fund exceeding 2% of the total county revenue, as shown in that county government's audited financial statement for the previous financial year, except for the first year. But in terms of what should be put there, it's left to the counties to decide. That is under section 110 of the PFM when they are establishing their county government emergency funds. The limitation is always on making payments from that emergency fund. That is the limitation that is set by the national law, that is the PFM.
Senator Kisam.
Chair, I wanted to ask two questions. So I raised two issues. Number one is maybe as a result of dispersing 30 instead of 46 million, were there any emergencies in Nandi County that the people suffered by the 16 million not being dispersed? Number two is in the subsequent year, it's 2024-25, the balance, when you received the exchequer from Treasury, did you remit the balance of 16 million to the fund account?
Yes, Governor.
Chair, we can confirm that there were no emergencies that were not responded to within the county. Of course, there is always, the pressure to fund the fund is also driven by emergencies. So if we had situations where we had serious emergencies that occurred, we definitely then would have been pushed into doing this. But we can confirm that there were no emergencies that required address under this fund that were not. In the subsequent financial year, yes, we did fund, the emergency fund, even with the balance, with that balance that was outstanding.
Any other issue on that? I think this is a matter of compliance, which, you know, they always say the law is the query will keep on coming. The law is not complied with. And in fact, even item number 2, that one was delayed remittance to the fund of 5 million. But generally it came to 30 million. So this is a compliance issue. So maybe you can tell the committee, Governor, how you are moving forward, how you are going to address this issue.
Chair, can I also add something before he replies? You know, this is a law that you did yourselves. So it is good that you comply or amend the law so that you say at most. You know, when you say at most, you can give less than what the law says if you say at most. But you see, when you say 0.5%, we expect you to budget and also move the same amount. And it's also not a lot, Governor. For the 6 million, it's not too much to just let it stay there. If there's no emergency, it means just roll over. It means you don't have to. Yeah. Agreed, Chair. That is really the position for us. Really, it's to push towards compliance. Sometimes when you have financial constraints, you face this kind of a situation. But in many situations, 0.5% is doable, and we have always done that.
Okay, I think if there is no any other issue, we will proceed to the next fund, the climate change.
Mr. Chairman, we move to the report of the Auditor General on Nandi County Climate Change Fund for the year ended 30th June 2024. The report on the financial statements, they have a qualified opinion. Mr. Chairman, we had 4 issues on this climate change. Number 1 again was to do with the presentation, accuracy and disclosure in the financial statements, which is quite similar with the one we have just concluded on. And so, Chair, I request that we skip unless the fund account has a different one. With your guidance, Chair.
Is the fund account according to your records through the Chair?
Chair, the fund accountant is CPA Jennifer Jepet.
So that's
this pack number 27293.
I think it's different from the earlier one, Chair Brian.
Yeah, Jennifer, is Jennifer around?
Jennifer is not around, Chair. She's indisposed.
Chair, I have a problem with that answer. Governor, is it strategic that all your fund accountants are absent? And number 2, Chair, as per the tradition, unless it has changed. Chair, can I have your attention?
Yeah.
As per tradition, when you are indisposed, because Parliament under Article 123 deals with evidence-based. It's an evidence-based driven engagement. Could the governor provide the doctor's report that shows that Jennifer could not attend? Because I have a problem, because the first one, Kevin was not here, Brian was not here, and now Jennifer is not here. And we have noticed, Chair, unless the governor will allow the committee to write to ISPAC to punish the 3 fellows for professional misconduct, because all these 3 funds have had problems in terms of accounting and in terms of presentation in their reports in financial statements. So is it by design, by default, that coincidentally the 3 of them who are supposed to manage these funds are not? I agree. And then, Chair, you might have to punish the governor and CCF and the fund administrator, because if the funds accountant are not here, it looks like there is a bigger scheme to cover something. And the problem is that, Chair, all these issues, the auditor agree with the auditor that the same fate will fail, because it is also the terms of presentation, accuracy and disclosure in financial statement as a public sector accounting standards, IPSAS. So the question is, all the three funds, even the first one that we stepped down, had similar issue of accuracy, presentation and disclosure. And the accountants, unless the governor will tell us that he has hired people who are not qualified to do these jobs, then it becomes a bigger problem. So, Chair, can the governor go on record and unanswered, one, whether he has evidence that Jennifer is sick, then that matter, because it's evidence-based, number one. Number two, the fate of these two. And number three, the professional misconduct. And I agree that it should be punished from the CPA, because he's the one who heads these funds, Chair. I thank you.
Yeah, the system shows that Jennifer is inactive. She's inactive and not in good standing. Yeah, inactive, membership status inactive, status not in good standing. So maybe Brian was active. Yeah, he was not in good standing. So maybe CEC Finance, you can start through the governor. These are your people. This one is inactive, meaning that he's not even a member. He's a member, but who is not complying.
And both of them are not in good standing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Indeed, the issue of being in good standing and with the profession really, as I've always communicated, is their personal responsibility. And the county, we've always assured that we're able to take them through training. Allow us, Chair, as I'd indicated initially, to really revisit this issue.
Of order, is it better if the governor answers that question, because it looks like he has people in office that are not qualified? And if you are not qualified, you are not supposed to be in office. The long and short, if the Chair, I agree with this, you know, if I have not paid my subscription fee with LSK, it means I am not qualified. It means I cannot represent anybody in court. So what we are having are not qualified. So can the governor tell us why he's retaining people who are not qualified in office? If he answers that, then we leave that matter to rest.
The governor is going to make a comment on that, but the person who deals with them on a day-to-day basis is a CEC Finance, so he needs to give us a background, and then the governor will respond to what you are saying.
Thank you, Chair. So yes, as I'd indicated, is that really as a county we've ensured that all the accountants that have finished their CPA are able to be members, and also continuously able to support them to be in good standing. Chair, however, it is still okay for an accountant who has not finished his CPA to still be engaged, as long as there is demonstration that they are really furthering their professional qualifications. But for those who finish, in this case, the fund manager here and the fund accountant ought to be in good standing. I request, Chair, through my governor, that once we regroup in Nandi, this aspect becomes something that I take it as a priority to see why, despite these opportunities, the accountants have not been able to take up many trainings that are offered by the Institute. But I know most of these issues largely relate to a few hours that have not been attended to in terms of their professional development, and it's something that we would wish to regularize within this financial year, Chair.
Yes.
I have a problem with that answer. So through the Chair, CCM, you are saying somebody who is unqualified, because the law is very clear. When you apply for something, there are certain requirements. So you are telling us that accountant who is in the process of acquiring or being registered with ISPA can be engaged, if I'm getting you right. And number two, is it the business of you as the head of all these funds to ensure that these accountants are registered, because you are just, I thought it is not even about hours. Maybe they have not paid annual subscription, or they have not done something, or they have violated their profession. Is it your submission through the chair that it is your responsibility as the head of these funds, CCM, to ensure that Jennifer Chebet, Brigham and Kevin should be... Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, and number one is that on the ISPAC portal that you check whether somebody is in good standing or not, it usually gives a reason as to why. So for these members who may not be in good standing, the portal would clearly tell us what the issue is, and we could verify. Secondly is to answer Senator Cherargei, is that really, generally, professional competence and to be in professionally good standing is usually a personal responsibility first, but then the responsibility for the ability for them to discharge duty should then mean that they come to the table knowing very well that they are competent professionally in good standing, and therefore, depending on what reason that makes them not be in good standing, it might be a very minor issue, maybe even a simple issue of not filing the CPD hours. It's something I wanted to have an analysis.
Point of order on two things. One, through you with the indulgence, Chair, CCM, you are failing the governor. Because if you go and Google in portal and you notice Cherargei is not in good standing through the chair, is not in good standing, I want to know your action. Number two, you have wished away by saying, if it is not in good standing, it's okay. Maybe the chair, then maybe to AG and the professional that are here, is it good if somebody who is not in good standing or has been cited for professional misconduct in the ISPAC to prepare some of these financial statements through the chair? Last one, through the chair.
Thank you, Chair. I think I wish to confirm on behalf of in every professional body, the good standing is to show that this person is up to date and has been appraising themselves with the changes in the profession. So, Chair, when you have a person without that good standing, it means they might have fallen back and may not be up to date with what is changing in the profession. And maybe that explains why we have the current queries that we have in terms of the presentation of the financial statements. So that good standing requires that you are up to date with the changing professional standards. Like I indicated earlier, Chair, the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board revises the templates annually, yearly. So it is necessary that you keep updating yourself. We're also changing the accounting system, and I think we are aware that we're now moving to the accrual system of accounting. Those are some of the things that someone in good standing has acquired the knowledge and will always be able to present financial statements that meets the required standards at that particular time. Thank you, Chair. And maybe just to point out that it's when a person is inactive means they have not been paying their subscription, and maybe the county can explain what's the policy. Do they pay subscription for their accountants, and why was this one inactive? Thank you, Chair.
So, Chair, in addition, so that Senator Kavidu can come on board so that I complete. So now we are seeing the consequences of not in good standing, because now the presentation and accuracy of financial statement is here with us. Chair, as Senator Kavidu comes on board, I would really want to know, because the CCM, you are failing the governor. When you notice these people are not in good standing, what did you do? Did you write to the governor? Did you write to county public service? Well, thank you, Chair.
Senator Kavimbo. Yeah, actually, my question was that which Senator Cherargei has just said, because we are kind of grilling the CEC, yet the governor is a CEO of Nandi County. So did he report to the governor that the people who are doing the accounting are not qualified, and what did the governor do about it?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I would have to check. One is that really, as I said, it's a personal responsibility for somebody to be in good standing, and that's why ISPAC is able to punish an individual if then they commit a wrong, because they're ascribing to the standards set by ISPAC. So, Chair, whereas this didn't come to my attention, and possibly during that time may not have come to the attention of my colleague then, I would suggest that we take corrective action by then me taking the personal responsibility to review all the accountants that we have in the system and be able to communicate their status, and through the governor we should be able to take proper action. Secondly, Chair, is that ordinarily in the county we have numerous accountants. A good number of them have always, out of their own initiative, paid up their subscriptions on their own volition. But also as a government, we've always wanted to facilitate any professional, and we always ensure that they give their details to the finance department, so that we forward one list to ISPAC and ensure that all the subscriptions have been paid up. But it's their individual responsibility to follow up to ensure that if they're not paying on their own, the county is available to settle that outstanding amount. But it's something that I think going forward, Chair, I take it up to we can ensure that the level of compliance is well noted. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you didn't answer Senator Kavindu. Senator Kavindu said, what has he done? So, did you do anything, yes or no, to advise the governor that you had professional? And you know, Chair, you know, preparation of financial statements of an entity is a very serious matter and sacrosanct that should be taken. So, CCM, when you, and I think, Chair, as we continue, we might have the CCM take an oath, because now he's answering more critical answers through the governor. So, what did you do? Did you advise the governor and indicated that so and so, Jennifer, Billion, and Kevin are not up to date, and therefore you needed his advice on how to proceed as the CEO of the county? Because this financial statement can mislead everybody, including the OAG, because of poor preparation and presentation and accuracy of financial statement. Did you do anything, yes or no, through the chair?
Thank you. Through the chair, indeed, yeah. I undertake to go and take action, Chair.
No, Chair, I am asking a very simple question. Did you do anything? Not future, I'm asking the past. Did you do anything, yes or no, through the chair?
Chair, no. That was my question.
Okay,
and, through you, Chair, yeah. I think we should stop it there, and I think we should take up this with the ISPAC. Chair, through you write to the ISPAC, through the clerk.
Chair, with your
and for all the clerks who have been doing these mismanagements in the accountants who have been doing mismanagements in the accounts, so that the ISPAC can deal with them directly. Because also the governor.
Chair, with your indulgence, I agree that was a total different question for Senator Gav. My question is very simple. The CCM is committing to go and write to the governor. So I'm asking, in the past, did you, it is a yes or no answer?
Okay.
No.
Can we have...
okay, that is, if he said no, it's okay, I take that answer.
Okay, he's going to respond to you, but can we have Senator Mbogwa, and then he responds to all that, and then Governor makes comments, and then we close, we make progress. Can we have...
Mine, Chair, was just what Senator Kavindu was said. The CEC here seems to be throwing the accountants under the bus and telling the committee to do whatever you want with them and washing their hands. So it's...
Yeah, so CEC respond, and then Governor, you say something, and then we give direction on that matter. But as you respond, just notice that it is not just one query. The first two queries are all related to mistakes by accountants. Query number 1 on presentation accuracy and disclosure, and query number 2 on Intercash book transfer, which was reported as an expenditure, and the amount involved is 11.7 million. The auditor himself, in his observation, says that it is not clear why the fund expensed that amount of money under use of goods and services, and yet it was inter-cash book transfer.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
To respond just to the issue of the accountants, that really, one is that I'm not throwing them under the bus. What I'd said initially is that it is their personal responsibility to ensure they're in good standing. However, it's my responsibility and our collective responsibility to ensure that as they discharge duties, I confirm that they're in good standing. And whereas I didn't take any action then when this came to because it hadn't come to my knowledge. My commitment, Chair, was that we were going to be more strict on this in ensuring that the accountants really take it personally upon themselves to ensure that they're in good standing and they're well updated so that these errors don't arise. So thank you, Chair. So to briefly answer the questions that you raised, Chair, is that question 2, okay. The Intercash book transfer reported as expenditure. So, Chair, do I answer what the auditor needs to read first? That's okay, thank you.
We in our pre-meeting, we said we just discuss the two, because they are all accountants issues.
Okay, Chair.
Proceed and respond to it.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So what we respond to the Intercash book transfer, of course, the background, Chair, is that as has been indicated, is that there was a commercial bank account at Family Bank, but also another special purpose account at Central Bank. When this FLOCA program was running, we were using the commercial bank account, but at the point when Treasury, the National Treasury via circular indicated that all spending or all expenditure through this fund should be done at the special purpose account, this money was wired back. So initially there had been a transfer of this money from the special purpose account to the commercial bank account. But then these monies after the circular were taken back. Now, while tabulating, while the accountant was tabulating, the trend or the trail of this figure was not captured well, because a transfer back of 11 million was a balance of several transfers that had been made to the commercial bank account. There were about 3 transfers. There was an opening balance of 2.9 million, but then there was also a transfer of 9.8 million and 11 million to the commercial bank account. Spending happened at that level, but by the time this was brought back, it was only 11 million that was left there. So in splitting the expenditure, an erroneous capture of this.
The Chair, who brought back the money? Is it National Treasury, Commercial Bank, or yourselves?
It's ourselves, Chair. So when we made the transfers, Chair, the error of not capturing properly the expenditure was done, and this is an item that we picked, and this misstatement will actually have a bearing on the 24-25, and it's an item that we will have that to be corrected, Chair. Thank you.
Chair, maybe to OAG, is this a misstatement or misclassification? And were you given that movement from SP account, special purpose account to KCB commercial bank? Thank you, Chair, so that I can ask further questions.
Chair, this is a misclassification and of course a misstatement, but we took it under misstatements because it was a transfer and yet they indicated it in the accounts as use of goods and services and as an expenditure, but it was not an expenditure, so it was misstated.
Yeah, with this 11.7 million, were you able to track? Did it says in the management response that it was returned to special purpose account. Did you see the Treasury advisory circular? What they said?
Chair, we didn't confirm that.
You did confirm, did you see the circular?
No, we didn't.
So, through the Chair, Governor, what gave you the impetus for this movement from to SPA from KCB Commercial Bank? What gave you the strength? That because Chair, I've looked at there is no annexures to satisfy this question of 11.7 million. And what was the fate of this 11.7 million? Through the Chair, the intelligence?
I think we have asked so many questions. Let the governor respond first to those ones.
One, the transfer of the amount from the commercial bank account to the special purpose account is pursuant to a directive by National Treasury that the expenditure was supposed to be done in the special purpose account and not in the commercial, and there is a National Treasury circular dated 29th of March 2023.
Yes, yes. Annex, annex, part of Annex 2.
Is it annexed to these documents?
Yes.
Is supporting honestly or honestly?
That's tomorrow.
I can see honest one share, honest two members, honest three.
The last page, advisory, the last annex, Senator, the very last.
The last two.
So it's advisory from Treasury.
But the last two is I have the description of profit.
This part of
But in other members, I think in other members they don't have it because unless they have it advisory from Treasury. Chair, do you have this copy?
Which might have been misfiled, but it's in all the documents.
Maybe you can request to table now. It's true.
I don't seem to be having it myself.
Maybe you can give it to the chair. It's quite a long letter. Give it to the chair.
So, Chair, that was the advisory from Treasury, and if you look at Annex 1, there is a bank statement from Family Bank indicating the transfer from Family Bank to special purpose account and the exact date. And also there is still under Annex 1, there is a statement from the special purpose account, central bank special purpose account, reflecting the same amount on 17th of January, reflecting the same amount, Chair.
Yes, I have seen this through the chair next years. So this account that is in, is it KCB or Family Bank?
Family Bank.
So it says the balance that you still have there is 3,459,000. How many commercial bank accounts do you have, Governor? Number one. Number two, through the chair, what is the fate of this 11.7 million Kenya shillings that was returned to SPA, special purpose account? What is the fate? Can we have the schedule of the expenses? And based on Family Bank, this account that you transfer the money, how many commercial banks do you have outside SPA and the CRF accounts and the treasury accounts? Thank you, Chair. Those are my two questions.
For this bank, for this fund, it's only one commercial bank account, the one at Family Bank, and therefore that is the only one that existed for the fund. For the special purpose account, once the money was courtesy of that advisory by the National Treasury, the money went back to the special purpose account, and the money was expended in the special purpose account for the function and the activities that were planned.
I think, Governor, through the chair, you didn't get me. I am not saying on this purpose. I'm talking about the commercial bank accounts you have as an entity. And maybe you have answered part one of my question. On part two, can you provide a schedule of the expenses of 11.7 million Kenya shillings on this special purpose account? Thank you, Chair.
Since we are discussing this, the fund, I have indicated that the commercial bank account is only one, and that is for the emergency. This other one, if you're asking for all the as an entity, that is a different question which we do not have the answers of it.
So in short, you are saying you don't know the number of commercial bank accounts
for the whole county?
Yes.
No, that cannot
leave
be
out
afforded.
the facility improvement accounts for hospital, leave out the SPS and the CRF and those that are used by the county treasurer.
Yeah.
Because you have one here. Is this the only one or the others, outside others that I've mentioned?
Yeah, but the number cannot be, I can't give you the number of it.
Chair, maybe you can give them 7 days to provide outside those that are recognized by the law. Thank you. And on the last part, Chair, where do you have the schedule of these expenses of 11.7 million under the expenses?
Yeah, that can be provided. I mean, it's not part of the audit query now, but we can provide that if ordered to.
Governor, it's not the issue. That is why the Constitution says the Parliament, including this committee, shall consider. The reason you are here is to try and mitigate some of these audit queries. So the fact that it is not part of the audit is to allow you to show the value for money, not only accounting, but the value for money that you have been given. I think that is why the OAG will say value for money was realized or the value of money was not realized. So if Chair, if he can provide that scheduling of that expense of 11.7 million, maybe you can give him a number of days, then before you do your report writing as a committee, you can be able to look at that 11.7 million. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I think we need to make progress, members. The first issue was the issue of the fund accountant. I think the CEC, you have said that you are going to reorganize your team. As you reorganize your team, make sure that even the placement of that reorganization has to be taken into account, because this is a bigger fund of 265 million. And then you put there an accountant who is not active and who is not in good standing. It is not small accounts like the other one we have looked at, the emergency. This one is much bigger. So I think that reorganization has to look into such aspects as well. Number two, on this issue of the matter of Intercash book transfer, which was reported as an expense, I think you can give us a schedule of the 11.7. We can give you another 1 week to do that to us, so that we confirm that figure with the with the listing of all the expenses under it. We are going to issue a general circular to all the counties on the issue of accounting errors. So that it's very clear to all the counties which appear before us on the need to ensure that we do not get accounting errors to become audit queries when they should not, and the possible penalties available to us as a committee, including quoting them for misconduct with the ISPAC, so that we will be able to send out as a general circular, not just to Nandi alone, but to all the counties.
Yeah, Chair, I just want to comment on what your statement just now on professional misconduct, and I wish to point to the committee to Accountants Regulations of 2022, Section 8B, which defines what professional misconduct is, and misstatement constitutes a professional misconduct. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, so you will also help our clerk when drafting that circular to all the counties.
Maybe our legal can read it for the benefit of the governor.
Okay, legal, you can read it.
Okay, it's under the accountant regulations, they are 2022, and regulation 8 is on professional misconduct, whereby it states that further to section 30 subsection 1 paragraph X of the Accountants Act, a member of the institute, that is ISPAC, shall be guilty of professional misconduct if such a member fails to, and the relevant paragraph is B, comply with the institute standards prohibiting falsification of books of account or misstatement. Yes.
Okay. That you will cite it in the letter as well. So let's move to unsupported expenditure. Query on unsupported expenditure, auditor.
Chairman, unsupported expenditure. The statement of financial performance reflects use of goods and services amount of Kenya shillings 39,083,028 as disclosed in note 7 to the financial statements. The expenditure includes Kenya shillings 1.8 million, Kenya shillings 499,000 and the Kenya shillings 3,811,130 in respect of supply of seedlings, supply of printer and landscaping respectively, for which the supporting documents were not provided for audit. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Governor, your response?
Chair, at the time of the audit, the 3 files were misplaced, but later they were found. Attached in this response are copies of the supporting documents, and that is annexure 3.
Auditor, your comments on the response?
Mr. Chairman, we saw the support documents they had, but Chair, we didn't have time to go and do an audit on this because literally this one we required to do a full audit. We check on the procurement, how it was done, how it was budgeted for, to the point of payment. However, Chair, the support documents which are here, even if they don't have the full documentation, for now they are very adequate, apart from the procurement aspect. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, maybe as an exit comment to the OAG. So it means that you don't know what you want from the client. Because if you are telling us the documentation that is here is fairly sufficient, what do you mean? To the governor, and that is why the choice of wording, your liaison should advise you, the choice of your wording will be falling on your own sword. Chair, just clarity, because I had an issue of loss of funds and misappropriation. Governor, what was the competence and ability of using 3,239,465 shillings to do landscaping and provision of paving of blocks of climate change office? What was the urgency? You know, there are things that are important but not urgent. There are things that are urgent but not important. What was the competency of these 3.2 million in terms of landscaping and paving of blocks? And that is why I don't agree with the word of loss of funds, but I agree with the word of misappropriation of funds. So in this, number one, to the governor, because I have seen the payment schedule, you have given even the one on the taxation, I have seen the issue of family bank, that you have been provided, the KRA, the issue of tax or withholding of taxes, the one on swift transfer, and also the tender that you paid for. So in this was it Ketsetsu entrepreneurs, if you know you have stamped with the climate change unit, Nandi County Limited, you have paid this amount, and there you all are signed the designation of the officer, but certification and approval 1 and 2 is left blank. So Chair, what is the second question to the governor? What is the authenticity of this payment voucher, where approval 1, approval 2 was never signed, cash folio number, head of supply chain management never signed, it was signed only by 2 individuals, that is voucher, examine, there was no certification of this payment. That is my question number 3. And then, Governor, where is the letter from Public Works or even occupation to show that after you have done landscaping and paving of blocks, or is it what do you call the blocks, or is it the cabros? Where is it? Those are my 3 questions, Chair. Thank you.
I think I'll ask Senator Siango to ask, and then those questions can be responded to before we continue.
Chair, looking at what we have been going through on this climate change fund, I'm getting concerns, and I would request the auditor to, because the issues, the summary of the issues are 4, and none is addressed. It concerns us as a committee. 4 issues, none responded, not even partially responded to. It concerns us.
Responded, they have responded. Maybe you should use the word addressed, not responded, they have responded. It's just addressed.
Chair, the message is home.
Okay. Now, Auditor, you have indicated that you didn't have time to go through these documents, and that you do not have a problem with them even as they are, except the procurement aspect. But I can see there are letters attached. There's an award letter which has been, award letters which have been attached. There are minutes of the evaluation committee. There are quotations and all that. What do you say about that? Did you also have a look at this?
Chair,
as you respond to the other queries, we are starting with you. As you respond to the queries by Senator Cheragei, Senator Siengo, and the others, you can include mine there as well.
Chair, can I also?
No, we will do the second round.
Chair, on the aspect of procurement, I said, Chair, I didn't see the budget because initially some of these things should be budgeted for. And then on the procurement, you need to advertise. I didn't see those advertisements for this kind of tender sort of contracts. And then, Chair, we need, because we did go verifying on this, we needed to see at least even photos of these exercises which were done, and of course certificates of completion of these works, especially the landscaping. So it has been partially addressed, but not fully. Thank you, Chair.
But I asked you that whether you had an opportunity to keenly go through all the documents, and when were the documents submitted to you? During the audit or after the audit?
And Chair, just to add on to that question, I can see there is a file which was not availed, which was lost, and it was found later. Can we also know when this file was found? And if the auditor was able to check on this file which had gotten lost? Yeah, files.
Auditor?
Mr. Chairman, I was not able to check on these files, and as I've indicated, we did to do fiscal verification of this project. So at this level, we expected to have photographs and the certificates of completion of these exercises from the respective engineers and the Master of Public Works. And then, Chair, that's why I said this kind of documentation, they required an initial audit, which we didn't do, but it was done at verification level, and so we are missing those documents. And then we need a time, Chair, to fully interrogate these documents. And of course, undertake fiscal verification.
But Chair, here it indicates that the files were lost, but they were found later. That later were the files brought back to you for perusal.
Chair, during audits, we didn't have these documents. So we are just, we got them at this level of when you invited the clients to appear before this committee. So that's the time we got access to these documents.
So through you, Chair, Governor, again, your people are failing you. Because how can files be lost and then found later after the Auditor General has left your offices?
Let's have Governor responding.
Several questions, Chair. The first one by Senator was the budget or the resources used to do the landscaping. Yes, the program of activities under this fund is spearheaded by a county climate change planning committee. The whole process of how activities are identified through all the way through the approval processes are done. The reason why under this program we had a Mazingira house that was built, the climate change office that was established. There was need to do landscaping to provide space for, parking space, but also space where activities and meetings are done. That was done, and I think the file, as indicated, is that we have we may not have included the pictures, but the events, the contractor who was given the work did the work. There is completion certificate, and the works have been completed. So in terms of the rationale, it is a whole program of activities, so the need to have landscaping and provide space for doing meetings was agreed upon by the county climate change planning committee. There is in those sets of documents we have the county from the public works certificate of completion. From the public works it is there. The certificate by the engineer is part of Annex 3. It's one of the documents on Annex 3. Yeah, there is summary of statement and the payment certificate. That is part of Annex 3 raised by the engineer. In terms of, we have indicated in our response that the files were misplaced at the time of the audit. Again, that is clear that it was misplaced, but the documents were found, were later retrieved, and this is the misplacement was occasioned by the move. There was a move from the old office to the new office. The new office established under this particular fund, and therefore the misplacement of the file happened at that point. But we were able to retrieve, and these are exactly the files that are before us. I agree with the auditor that then he may need time. He definitely needs time to look at them and go and confirm on ground, but the documents are here.
Let's do another round of questions. Senator Bogo. Is a member assessment. Oh, where have you been? Proceed. Put yourself on record.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Senator Rafael Chimera, Senator from Kwale County, a member of this committee. My apologies, I am just from Kwale. Karibu, Governor.
Thank you, Chair. One part of my question was not answered. Just a quick 30 seconds so that I thought we only have one chair in this committee, and it is you, and Deputy Party Leader of ODM. So, Chair, you need to give a sick leave to Senator Chimera, because all of us might go home sick. Chair, on the issue of NC2 enterprise, just clarity from the governor. I have two vouchers. Governor, which is your true voucher? In one of the voucher, you are paid 3.8 million for paving and landscaping. In one of the voucher, it is 3.2 million. So which one do we take home? Chair, if you look at the Annexure 3, the first voucher is 3.2 million. When you go at the payment voucher for the same company, Kensetu Enterprises Limited is 3.8 million. So why that discrepancy? Because he has voucher at page 21 is 3.2 million for payment with respect to landscaping and provision of blocks of climate change and paving. That is to the same Kensetsu, and 3.8 to the same company. Does it mean there was double payments of 3.2 and 3.8, or which is the correct voucher in terms of provision of that? And then, Chair, finally, you can answer that, Governor. This supply of 3 seedlings, the OAG has indicated there was no supporting document. Which type of these 3 seedlings of 1.8 million was supplied to who? And is there a schedule of this supply of 1.8 million to this, because 3 siblings can be anything. It can be avocado, it can be cypress. So we need to be precise, because I know in accounting, you must be precise with an eye of military marksman. So thank you, Chair. Those are my 2 follow-up questions.
On the voucher, I mean the figures, Chair, I think there is one of the documents there that gives a breakdown, and the breakdown is that the amount that goes to the contractor is 3.2. Then we have a retention of 381, and then we have taxes of there is 76,000, and then there is 114,000 being also taxes. Then the total figure comes to 3.8. So it's the same work, but then the 3.2 is for the contractor, and the other ones are the retention and the other figures.
So through the Chair, you are saying in this SWIFT RTGS of 3.2, it was paid directly to Kenetsu Enterprises. Where is the retention account? Because I have the SWIFT transfer from Family Bank, and it was paid through Eldoret West Branch, and the code was 070. And then, Governor, to enrich your answer, Tirop Jabet, is he a supply chain management?
He's not here.
He's not here. He originated on 10th March 2023 of 3.8 on landscape and provision of paving lakes. This purchase requisition form, climate change, and then Masi Chemutai requested it on 15 March 2023. So there is a bit of discrepancy, even the originator. This is your document. In fact, it has your letterhead, and department has been indicated. So as you reply to that discrepancy, in terms of, I've seen the SWIFT RTGS of 3.2 through the Chair, but this 3.8 and the evidence of the retention account, because I've just seen the one of taxation that you have provided here.
So the retention fee remains, amount remains within the account, within the fund account.
That's how much?
381,000.
Is it part of your documents to the Chair? Is it part of your documentation? Just a moment. Even in the LPO.
So the retention is just part of the bank account, the balances in the fund account. We do not.
Governor, but in your payment voucher, you have indicated you have paid 3.8 million. It is here. In your earlier voucher, you have indicated you have paid 3.2 million. So which one should we take? I thought when you are writing the voucher, it would have exempted the taxation and the retention money that is retained by the in the account, as we have indicated. Chair, this money looks small, like chicken change, but it's very serious.
The payment voucher is 3.2.
But in the letter of acceptance, which is part of your documents.
Yeah, but acceptance letter has to give the overall fee, the contract amount.
3.8.
Yeah, if you look at the invoice by by the contractor, the invoice 3.2, which is the amount, yeah.
But I've shown you the discrepancies of the dates of requisition of Tirop, Chapet, and Mercy Chemtai in your own document. So my concern is, then why give a forger that you paid Kenetsu 3.8 million as opposed to 3.2? If I am to go with your narrative that you did pay 3.2 because you needed to pay taxation, you needed to pay tariff, then why supply a forger that you gave Kenetsu 3.8 million, which means you violated the law?
The voucher that I have here is 3.2.
So this one we should stand it down, the 3.8 one.
Which one?
This one that is attached in annex number 3.
That is the certificate.
Can I, Chair, can I just give out the voucher?
So there is the first voucher of 3.2.
That one, yeah.
3.2. But as you go through your documents, there is another forger that has been signed. Just a moment, it is here. That has been signed.
That is the engineer certificate. The certificate is not up.
This one, Chair, I have it here. Payment voucher, proposed landscaping and provision of paving of the, and it was stamped. This was a payment voucher. What does the payment voucher mean, OAG? Maybe you can go to basics.
Which page are you referring to?
Maybe the governor did not paginate. I'm just skimming through as an industrious person. Skimming through cop and tail, because when you say this was on 4th July 2023, what does it mean when you say payment voucher?
Chair, the first payment was 3.2 to Kensetu, and they stamped paid, and is fully authorized by the held and examined.
But there was no approval 1 and 2.
There was no approval 1 and 2.
What does the law say?
But stamped paid.
What about certification?
So
it's not there.
It's not there. But
so the authenticity of this document cannot be.
Yes, Chair, but it's paid. The first one is paid, stamped.
So let me ask through the Chair, if money is paid but approval process is not followed, what becomes of it? Does it stand the test of time?
No,
it falls by the sword. So Chair, maybe the committee can advise on how we can proceed. Thank you, Chair. I rest my case.
Maybe, Chair, in addition to that, the other payment is not paid. So management maybe can tell the committee what was this they wanted to do.
Correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Chair, maybe I can take the advice of the committee. I rest my case there. Because I know time has been fast spent.
Let me have Governor. Governor, please.
The Chair, allow me to ask the Chief Officer to respond to that.
Chief Officer.
Thank you, Chair. Through the Governor. On the first payment voucher that does not have the signatures of the approver 1 and approver 2, this happens when we are paying using the central bank account, where the signatories are the approver 1 and approver 2. In this case, we are paying using commercial account, and the RTGS SWIFT has the signatures of the signatories.
Through the Chair, no, you know you cannot proceed with an illegality. I thought the governor said this was through a special purpose account, not a commercial, which means they violate the law. Because all funds, if you ask Jabari, will tell you all these funds should go through SPS because these are special funds.
Correct. Let's allow her to finish her presentation. Maybe she will, in the process, deal with what you are.
Thank you, Chair. This was a payment done before the funds were recalled to the special purpose account at the central bank. So we were paying using commercial account then before the National Treasury recalled the funds to the central bank account. So the signatories are the signatories to the commercial account are as per the SWIFT account or RTGS advisories at the commercial pages at Family Bank. So we use approval 1 and approval 2 when we are using the central bank SPA account. Thank you. On to the payment vouchers.
So Chair, through the Chair, so you use the wrong document to pay. Because it was not SPR at that point, it was a commercial account.
It was a commercial account, and this is the standard payment voucher that we have in government. We could not design a different payment voucher.
But the document that you did use is you use it to pay a commercial account before it was recalled to the
It is part of the attachment documents that we give to commercial account as supporting documents for them to authorize payments at the commercial account. We must attach a payment voucher as well. Thank you.
So what you are saying through the chair is when you are paying through commercial account, you can use this payment voucher, which is a standard of payment in government, to pay through the commercial bank account.
It is part of the documents that support the checks and the RTGS advisory slip. One of the main documents is a payment voucher.
Through the chair, Governor, when there is no approval 1 and approval 2, I thought there is the quality of that payment is not authentic. Is it not so? Through the governor, the OAG?
Chair, when they do internet banking, they have, that's when they have the approvals in the system. But for this one, I don't know what it was in system based or it was.
But they are paid through RTGS.
Yes.
They are paid through SWIFT. So through the chair, when we are paid through RTGS or SWIFT, if the approvals are in IP, they should have, the approval should have been done based on that.
Okay, I want to make a comment.
Yeah.
Chair, I wanted to find out from the governor, maybe chief of staff through the governor. I believe the standard, some of us are also business people. The standard is if you have an account with a commercial bank and you want to pay a supplier, you've said you did the payment voucher. Of course, a contract. There was a contract between yourselves and the supplier, and finally the RTGS will have the signatories to that account, the signatories. Those are the documents then that we need to see so that it allays the fears that it's not authentic, because there must be some signatories to the account who are supposed to sign, if it is 1 or 2 or 3.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Member. As part of the attached documents, there is a slip from Family Bank that shows the payment of 3.2 million to Kensetto Company, and it has the signatures of the signatories to the commercial account of the Climate Change Fund.
Is there an agreement between yourselves and the bank, the supplier?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, it's part of the attached documents.
Okay.
Thank you.
Members, I think we need to make progress on this, because remember we have one fund to go and it's almost 1:30 now. Yeah, so we have to go to the house and you must have lunch also. So my directions.
Chair, is having lunch tied up to where you come from? On a lighter note.
You are my neighbor.
I know you take lunch religiously, so I appreciate it.
Chair, even their sugars are low now. You have not even invited the governor and his team to have tea. And it's here. Their sugars are low now.
Okay.
But the advantage, the governor is still very young, so I don't think that's an issue.
Let me give direction on this matter. I think you listened to the auditor. He said that he did not have time to go through the pieces of evidence which have been submitted, and he needed to confirm a few things. And then members, you have asked a number of questions regarding the same. So my direction is that the auditor will go back and verify the documentation, originals for all these transactions, because one of the file was not available during the time of audit. And then, auditor, you respond to this committee, and I want to give you only 14 days for that. And then moving forward in the subsequent audit engagement, we will want confirmation that the central bank circular is adhered to. Treasury circular on that is adhered to. So I think we will be looking forward for your communication to the committee in 14 days. And Mark, please, you know we have given so many directions on such, which I have not seen the communication from your office. So you also take charge and ensure that we get that communication in 14 days.
Not a chair.
So let's get to the last query. Members, way forward is that we'll finish this last query and then adjourn. I know we have one more fund, that is a car and mortgage loan fund, and which we may not have time to look at. But since we had withdrawn the responses for the education fund, and I know there is another fund which we did not request for your responses, that is alcoholic drinks fund. So we will then have another session to look at the three funds later. So now we will just cover this one, and then the three we schedule another time. The clerk will advise on the next meeting when that can be done. So let's look at the last query, which is budget control and performance. Auditor.
Chair, budgetary control and performance. The statement of comparison of budgets and actual amounts reflects final receipts, budgets, and actual amounts on comparable basis of the same amount of Kenya shillings 265,728,422, resulting to 100% budget realization. Similarly, the fund spent 39,083,028 against actual receipts of Kenya shillings 265,728,422, resulting into an under expenditure of Kenya shillings 226,695,394, or 85% of the actual receipts. The underutilization of the budget affected the planned activities and may have impacted negatively on service delivery to the public. My opinion is not modified in respect of this matter. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, your response?
The under expenditure of 85% occurred due to the late disbursement of the CCRI, which means the County Climate Resilience Initiative funds, to Nandi County. Attached is a bank statement to confirm that the first CCRI of Kenya shillings 148,121,151, and the second CCRI of Kenya shillings 68,456,055, which were received in the account on 11th, 4th, 2024 and 5th of July 2024 respectively. Otherwise, the 85% of the budgeted activities have been undertaken in the financial year, in the subsequent financial year of 2024-2025.
Auditor, your comments on the response?
Thank you, Chair. We are going to engage in the next audit to confirm these activities, whether they were carried out since the funds were received in the current financial year of 2024-2025.
So maybe the governor, you can make the committee understand verbal explanation how these occurred.
The explanation, Chair, is that there was delay in the disbursements on this fund, and the amount for the financial year under review came in the current financial year. So the activities could not have been undertaken in the last financial year. They were undertaken in the current financial year. So the challenge here is, whereas you have an under expenditure of 85%, that 85% was money that was received in the subsequent financial year, and therefore the activities were undertaken in the financial year, and therefore the next audit on this fund would then capture that expenditure and the activities that were undertaken.
So the 39 was received in 2023-2024?
Yes.
And then the rest was received
in the 2024-2025.
So was there a rebudgeting of this?
Yes, supplementary budget we did.
Okay. So members, your comments?
No comment, Chair, but the COG should also put pressure on the executive for the budgets to be released in good time, because they release a budget very late, so that you don't even have time to work. That is why most of the counties are even returning money to Treasury after the end of the year before working with it, because of these delays of the budget. And Chair, I think also this committee should do something about that to help the counties.
So I think if there is no any question on that, if there is no any question, we will stop there. And maybe just ask for final comments if there is any from the members, including the member who has just walked in. Any comments, Senator Bogo?
Yes, Chair. Just to the governor. Governor, you are a second time governor. Your staff are really letting you down. To come here and be put to answer questions about missing files, you really need to read the riot act to them. And sometimes you wonder these issues, even the assembly, how did they handle? Because this is an issue which could have been handled there at the county level. So, Governor, these people do something.
Chair, maybe mine is to the CEC through the governor. You've noted in all the funds, the first query is inaccuracies. You know that is basically capacity and competence. So for you, maybe the best thing to help the governor, it's also good for you to have meetings with your staff, check reports even before, and then when the auditors are in place, you become very close. So, there are some things, because the way you're answering questions, you understand these things very well. So this issue should not reach Senate. Yeah, because I see you are very competent. If on retirement of your boss, you can go for the seat.
Advice well taken, Chair. Thank you. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. Any other final comments, Senator Cherege?
Chair, I would have wished we would have done the three, especially education, the one on car and mortgage, and the one on alcoholic drinks. Chair, I know some of us don't take those substance water and soda. Maybe I'll be exempted during that consideration. But the point I wanted to make, Chair, Kenyans pay their taxes very painfully. So it is always unfair when it comes to accountability. We cannot account it properly, Governor. And I saw the communication from COG yesterday over the accountability issue and transparency by the COG. Chair, I have noted a number of things. One is professional misconduct, which all of us agree. The issue of accuracy and disclosure and many others. It points to a bigger problem that Chair, you must pronounce yourself as the committee. Because if all this, for the three, because I've had the benefit, for the three, the issue of non-disclosure, accuracy, which are basic accounting issues, have not been handled. And you know, Chair, Nandi is not short of professionals. You are our neighbor, and you know very well. If it was other counties, I don't want to name names so that I'm not accused of profiling them, we would be agreeable. But you know, my community, they are good in sciences and maths. So when you say the shortage of accountants or professional misconduct, Chair, then you must be worried as our neighbor, because you know our progress in terms of accounting. Finally, in terms of accountability and prioritization of projects under these funds, Chair, I don't think they were fair and clear. The reason, Chair, we are hard on governor. CPA, like that, is not new. We are served with the governor. I don't know whether because he's good at covering up or not. Governor is having his second term. So that is why we are asking these hard questions, because as governor goes to, I don't know whether he wants to retire or no, although he says he's too young to retire, which is a story for another day. There must be accountability in terms of all this, Chair. And it is disappointing, Chair, that the OAG has indicated, I don't know whether, Governor, you have seen the OAG analysis. All questions and the benefit of the are not satisfactory. Some are either basic errors or some other are serious errors in terms of movement of cash, Chair. So I want to appeal, the procedure is as good as the outcome. You cannot say, since there was no misappropriation of funds and the procedure was wrong, is acceptable. It has never been acceptable, Chair. Even you remember on the Isiolo case, the reason that matter collapsed is because of lack of procedure. So I want to appeal to the governor, as you go home, please take an action against your officer so that we don't need to escalate this. You know, Chair, I'm embarrassed that we are discussing basic accounting errors instead of real issues, Chair. So with those many remarks, Chair, I thank you for the indulgence of the committee. I hope the committee can schedule the issue of education fund, because I really wanted to know. We have been having a problem on the issue of beneficiaries of bursary. I really wanted to know who are these and which institutions are receiving. So I hope, Chair, you can reschedule as a matter of priority. I know the COG yesterday has a problem in terms of consideration within the financial time, and I don't know whether OAG has received that communication from the COG in terms of consideration within the timelines of that has been provided by law. Chair, with those many remarks, thank you for the hospitality and the indulgence that you have given us as a county. We don't take it lightly. I thank you, Chair, and I submit.
Senator Eddy.
Chair, I think that the comment I wanted to make, first of all, thank you, Governor, for always honoring this committee. This committee is a partner committee. While we're doing oversight, we also ensure that we can be able to